Time to tune in.
Welcome everybody to the playoff edition of Sideline, and I gotta say, it's a sad day here. Why? Because it's our season finale and you guys will be without us for the next 8 months. So I don't know how you're gonna survive. You got a little while to figure that out, get that all worked out. But we're gonna go on with the show as always. We got a great show. With me, my host, Gerard G. Greasy, happy as anything about that number 1 seed the Falcons got.
I'm telling you, believe it. I told you at the beginning of the season.
He's flag waving and chain wearing over there.
I will be their cheerleader as long as it gets.
Can we get him some pom-poms and he can join the
I got
Falcon
pom-poms.
cheerleaders?
You told me not to bring them out.
Yeah, that would have taken the show kind of in a different direction.
the
We're not
outfit
trying to
too.
go there. Aviators here is always taking flight. No X chromosomes in the house at all.
And no
It's
Vikings.
Strictly, this is strictly
And no Vikings.
and no Vikings.
No Vikings.
This is this is strictly a man's show today. It's a season for the playoff edition. It gets even more manly in the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Listen, just calm down.
All right,
Calm down.
all right. Carry on.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna recap the entire 2010 season for you. It was an unbelievable season in the NFL, like they all are, but this one had some particular highlights that we want to talk about. But what I want to get to first is we're going to talk about some of these players who were top-notch players in 2010, talk about them in the 2011 season. Should they be a part of your roster in 2011? Let's start with the quarterbacks. Same guys on this list as always you'd expect. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Mike Vick's a newcomer to that, had a breakout season this year. Ben Roethlisberger, and of course the incomparable Peyton Manning. All 5 of these guys, I think we could say, pick them up on your roster in your draft next year. No brainer, right?
No brainer. Vic will actually get drafted before the last round.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where was he drafted? Let's just talk about your draft in particular. Where was he drafted in your draft?
And well, in my 6th league, which I did win 2 titles and 4 in the 6 leagues I was in, he was average 4th round.
Wow.
And that was at the earliest. We had one guy. Wow. Yeah, that worked out good.
Well, whoever picked him got a great pick, a great value pick for the money. Let's move on now to these wide receivers. Again, some new faces on this list. The guy Roddy White, obviously, has been a Pro Bowler for a couple years, but a guy I really like in Pittsburgh, Mike Wallace, turned into their number 1 receiver there for sure. Definitely a guy that I would say look for him this offseason, going into next season for sure. Speed, right? Speed. I thought you were over there saying your team, as in all of a sudden the Steelers became your team. When did that happen?
What?
Right.
As I was interviewed on TV when I was a tad bit inebriated, I've been a fan for 30 years, and I'm going to stay that way.
No, he is a true Falcons fan, so we'll give him that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Deion Branch for a minute. Is he going to be back with New England? Is he a guy that warrants a lot of attention going into the fantasy season in 2011?
I would say he might be back, but we know how the Patriots operate, and they're frugal. And they might cut him for a pair of Panthers.
Yeah, they got to pay him $5 million last year. I know, Avi, you were talking about his contract. You know, is he worth that money? Now, he signed that $39 million contract in 2006 with the Seahawks. They paid him most of that money. The Patriots paid him $4.5 this year. They got to pay him $5 next year. He's a number 1 receiver, was very productive with them.
Who was better? Him or Moss?
He was way better than Randy Moss this year. That's not even a question.
Who was cheaper?
Randy Moss was in the last year of a $15 million deal.
I mean, they usually back end all the money, right?
Absolutely. So Deion Branch was much cheper, to my point.
Yeah. He produced more, was cheaper, and knew the offense coming
back in better than Moss. I mean, and what did Moss do?
Breed.
What did Moss do in Minnesota and Tennessee?
He had 2 catches.
I didn't even know he was. I forgot he was still even in the league.
He had 1 catch
Unbelievable.
because he caught it and fell out of bounds, and they called it a catch.
Right in the last game of the season.
Felt sorry for him.
Classic. Now, Wes Welker on this list, as always, and Deshaun Jackson, one of Mike Vick's favorite targets there. If they get Mike Vick back in Philadelphia, which everybody expects that they will, gotta think about Deshaun Jackson being a top pick, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was a top pick anyway when the Nab was in there.
And he got
Mike Wallace?
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Wallace, another guy, definitely going to be a top
But what
pick.
about Wes? He had an injury. Do you think he's going to bounce
Wes
back?
is
No, Wes Welker is perennially a
Late round pick.
120 catch guy, but he's not a big fantasy guy. He doesn't score a lot of
He
touchdowns.
doesn't
right?
score a lot of touchdowns. He doesn't get a lot of yards, but he's good for a flex position.
Okay, now running through these last couple positions, running backs, tight ends, we got a ton of guys on this list now. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis in the running backs, love him. Michael Turner, gotta
Love him.
Gotta take him. Rashard Mendenhall's a top back in Pittsburgh as always. LaShawn McCoy and Ray Rice, two guys that are going to consistently get you, 100 yards a game,
Yes.
score some points for you in fantasy. This tight end position though, these are the guys. Keep it. Whoa. This tight end position here, some guys I really want to talk about. Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez, both in
On
New England.
Patriots.
How are they
And they got
able to
Crumpler.
divide that production
And they
amongst
got
them? And they
Crumpler.
got an old Falcon Algie Crumpler. Unbelievable.
It's going to be a good old competition.
No, it's
You
not.
know
They
it.
need to settle on one. They need to settle on one tight end.
No. You can have three, two
No.
pass catchers and a blocking tight
Not
end.
going to help me on my team.
To Gerard's favorite position, the kickers. He loves them. They win games. They lose games. They're the most important player on the field, according to Gerard.
So turn everybody into a kicker. Our linebacker kicked off one time. I mean, yeah, it's very important.
Right.
Suckers.
And Ndamukong Suh kicked an
I
extra
can
point.
kick right now. Right now. I can
No, you can't.
20 yards.
Well, listen,
I might
some
pull out
guys
the
that are always on this list: Shane Graham, Garrett Hartley's a newcomer, Matt Bryant, David Akers, and Sean Sweezum. Listen, the kicker position, as Gerard said, if you can get one at any point in the draft, usually later,
They go undrafted.
they go undrafted in most
Last
leagues.
pick, undrafted. It depends on if you are just that good. Like some people in my league, I'm telling you, dude went undefeated because he had the team. He can pick one up middle of the round and still know what he's doing. But it's very rare. Don't worry about the kicker. They give you 3 points a game, unless you're on a high-powered
I
team.
wouldn't say that because
If you get a Patriots
for the
kicker
last
or
seven
Vinatieri,
Adam Vinatieri missed one. He's
all
missed
year.
one home field goal in his career in Indianapolis. Unbelievable. So there
Besides
you have
those-
it.
So really, it's important.
no,
Yes, it is.
negative. It would have been important
It's
for the
the
Cut.
Vikings.
same thing.
So there you have it. There's our list for 2011. And you guys know that we always got the hot information courtesy of Yahoo Sports. So count on it, bank on it through 2011 season. All right, moving on now. We're going to continue to recap the 2010 season, go to one of my favorite topics here, one of my favorite segments. We're going to talk about who impressed, who disappointed, but we're going to do it for the entire season. Let's talk about the teams, first of all, that impressed you guys. What team specifically impressed? Is this really a question for Gerard?
You know, I really had to sit down. This was very perplexing to me. And I had to think about what team would I have watched all year long and enjoyed it. And it was tough at first, but then I decided, you know what? I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, seriously, if you get too close, 5 foot, 5 foot, personal space. Believe that.
Ava, can you bring something
She don't have-
better to the table?
She don't have a team. She got 14.
As much as I can't stand Gerard and Pete Falcons.
No, don't jump on the bandwagon now. No, don't jump on the bandwagon now. 'Cause if you jump, I'm telling you, don't jump on the bandwagon. And if we lose, I'm gonna be mad at you.
Dating the
Leave it.
obvious, right?
Hate us the rest of the year. Because we've been winning. Hate us the rest of the year. Please.
It's always funny to me that anytime
No.
a team does well and people start rooting for them, they automatically get categorized as bandwagon fans. I mean, that's just kind of the
I didn't say I
nature.
was rooting for
If
them.
you
I
were
said
not
they
with us
were
during the bad times, don't come with us during the good times.
Okay, well, so then make that statement to like 3/4 of Atlanta because it
I
was
have.
very, very clear
I have.
through my years with the Falcons. When we were good, the stadium was packed. When we were bad, you could give away tickets and
I
still
was
not
there
fill
in
the stadium.
Fulton County Stadium
Atlanta
with the
has the
$5
most fair
seats.
weather fans
Me.
in the world. You heard it here first.
I
Thank
agree
you.
with that, Dan. I tell them the exact same thing. Get out of my tent. Because I don't want you. I don't want you.
Now, of course, you guys know where I've been all year. I got to stick it with my Patriots. Man, they've been incredibly impressive all year. They're going to continue to do so. They're my pick for the Super Bowl. Just going to throw that in there. But moving on now, you guys know that. Players, though, here's what I want to talk about, these players. Let's talk about specific players that impressed each one of us throughout the year. Where are you going? And please don't say Matt Ryan or Roddy White because you already knew they were going to be great. Let's talk
I
about
don't
somebody
recognize individual players on my team. It's a team thing. But my answer for this particular one would actually have to be Michael Vick. I'm actually impressed with how he has rebounded from the trouble he's been in to being an all-pro to being, I mean, he might go to the Super Bowl, but you guys come to the line. So yeah, Vic gets my vote. I mean, period. That's just
That
it.
was my vote.
I mean, you can vote for him, but that's honest. Vic has just been doing his thing.
I love to see someone come from like the bottom of the barrel and I mean that's a lot of effort.
He came from jail. He was no bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be unanimous on this one. This guy, it wasn't the fact that he just, the adversity and everything he overcame. To me, it was the improvement in the skill level. The pure improvement in the skill level that you see a guy make at 30 years old. You don't see that. By the time a guy reaches this point in his career, you're usually, they talk about upside a lot of times. The guy's set in his ways, he has some bad habits that you can't fix.
Not a lot of change.
Not a lot of change is going to happen. Michael Vick changed and grew and became better than anybody that I've ever seen at that stage of his career. It was pretty incredible. It was pretty impressive. That's the thing that I like the most about what he's done and what he was able to accomplish. Very impressed with Mike Vick.
I wish he was in the AFC though.
Yeah, right?
I really do.
It could definitely pave the Falcons' road to the Super Bowl a little bit
He was in
easier.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about who disappointed us now, because there's definitely. I mean,
don't have
this is.
enough time.
I was gonna say I don't think we have enough time. I mean, you could go all the way from how horrible the Cincinnati Bengals are. Are we kidding? Like,
They went from champions
Unbelievable.
last year to beating the break. They beat the brakes off the Ravens last year. Now they
when they signed T.O.,
Not
all the
T.O.
talk was, well, he's going to be the thing to get them over the hump, to get them to the Super Bowl, and they were like
T-Rex.
2-13 or 2-14, like unbelievable.
I mean, really. Have you noticed that every team T.O. goes to, they do it once?
Yeah,
Have you noticed that? Really?
You
Have
know,
you noticed that?
and the truth is he had a great year actually. He produced,
did.
but from a team perspective, Carson
bad.
Palmer was as bad as he's ever been. Let's just throw that out there.
But he
He's
did have
horrible.
more interceptions than
Oh my gosh, I have to say that like Brett Favre.
What about
Terrible. How
we called him
disappointing?
to the beginning of the year.
How
so whatever.
disappointing were the Vikings? Honestly, that was pretty
Well,
bad.
I hope
It was not disappointing. It was expected.
I can't say I expected that.
Expected.
I expected them at the very worst to be 10-6 and be battling for the NFC North title.
I expected them to win 2 games. We're gonna fall.
They had everybody back.
said it.
They had everybody back, and
what?
same team, and one of the worst teams in the league. Unbelievable. They couldn't get anything going offensively. Brett Favre never found his rhythm. It seemed like he was never healthy all year. He had nothing but scandals and disappointments I mean, it was
Maybe he
unbelievable.
should have sent
Being a
a
player-
picture of his booty to somebody. I don't know.
I'm trying to make a point.
I'm sorry, go
Do you
ahead.
think that being a player yourself, the chemistry, does that have a lot to do? I mean, it's the same
No,
players.
listen.
What do you think?
No, chemistry does have a lot to do with it, but that's the thing is that this team had a ton of chemistry coming into the season. It was all the same guys from the
Or maybe
season
last
before.
year was just luck.
No, let me tell you something. Let me just say this. Nothing that happened when a team is as good as the Vikings were last year, okay, makes it the NFC Championship game. There's no luck necessarily involved. The NFL season is too long for them to be luck. Now, Final Four, the March Madness,
That's
okay,
all luck.
that's luck. A team can get on a run and get lucky and do whatever. But
Butler.
when you talk about a team that does it throughout the course of a 16-game schedule and 2 or 3 playoff games, that was a team that was really playing well, and they had everybody back. It seemed like they got
they
better,
were
but
missing the big boy at the end of the year.
Pat and Kevin Williams,
Yeah.
still,
you know-
they were bad from the get-go.
You know what? He's gonna stay retired this year. I got inside information again. The NFL is they're gonna cancel the season to guarantee Brett Favre doesn't play.
Right,
I'm telling you,
right.
they're gonna stop it. I predict number 1.
Well, as sad as it is to say, we're about to wrap it up here. We're going to finish it off with our Super Bowl predictions. I think we already know one of Gerard's picks, so let's get the other one. In the AFC, Gerard, who is going to match up against your Falcons?
Patriots.
Hands down.
I'm not even going to It's not even going to play with. They're grown, man. It's scary.
They've hammered every team in the playoffs. They've handled them easily.
Every team that you put in front of them, the Jets, they put up 40. The
Steelers, they hung 30-something on. It wasn't
They turned them
even
into
close.
schoolgirls. I thought they were playing a Catholic school that week. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, it's Patriots. But they're going to lose in the Super Bowl just like they lost 2 times.
Ooh, I don't know about that. As much as I like the Falcons, I'll
You know
still
what?
take the Patriots
Like
in
I
that
said,
matchup.
stay on your side and cheer for who you want to. Don't jump over.
Ava, who do you got? Give us the
You
picks.
know, who I wish I could see was, I wish I could see Mike Vick in the Super Bowl.
Not gonna
but,
happen.
Like, realistically, the Patriots are a reliable team. Like, they're consistent year after year. So, and then the Falcons.
Same thing.
I'm not jumping. I'm just saying, if we look at the scores and
When the Eagles jacked my Falcons up and put them into the closet, y'all was all on me, and I was the only one that said I got their back. Don't do it. I don't want you on the side.
I'm not jumping.
I don't want you.
I'm saying the opposite fact. And that is that the Falcons will most likely win.
Stick with your Vikings.
I'm just saying that. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Eagles and the Patriots on this one, and listen. The magic of Mike Vick is going to take over in playoff time. As much as I love the Falcons, and as great as I think they got home field advantage, blah, blah, blah. But home field advantage in this case works to the Eagles' favor because no weather, it's indoors, no cold, no frozen field. Mike Vick there'll be as many Mike Vick jerseys, Falcons Mike Vick jerseys in the stands as there will be Matt Ryan jerseys. Arthur Blank actually came out and publicly said, if the Eagles come to the Georgia Dome, don't wear your Falcons
I
Mike
wouldn't
Vick
let you
jerseys.
in. It'll be a half an empty dome. I wouldn't.
Well, y'all gonna have to deal with that because Atlanta is still Mike Vick's town.
It is.
And when they come to the Georgia Dome, it's gonna be a half and half split. Trust me, the Eagles are gonna get it going, and Mike is gonna be very motivated. Eagles, Patriots rematch from the 2004 season Super Bowl, 2005 Super Bowl, which the Eagles could have won if Donovan McNabb would have been in shape. No, I'm just playing.
See?
Donovan McNabb's terrible, but that's another whole nother deal.
Why do we have to go there?
We do.
It's so hard.
No. You know why we go there? I'm just gonna say this, Sideline. So we can kind of wrap this up the way we started it, arguing and bickering.
That's what we do.
You guys were all over me about Rex Grossman when I said bench McNabb and put Rex Grossman in. Rex Grossman only came in the last 3 games of the season, had 3 300-yard games.
Okay.
Threw for 3 or 4 touchdowns each game. Had a far superior grasp of the offense than Donovan McNabb.
Okay.
The Redskins might be, 9-7 if they started Rex Grossman the whole year.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie.
You can't believe that. You can't be. You're not being
Come
real
on,
with
man.
yourself. You're not being real with
Anyway,
yourself.
well, like I said, we're gonna close it up. I know it's a sad. You guys, no, don't cry. Don't cry. It's not. We'll be back. But we're gonna give each host, as we always do, your final thought from the final episode of the first season of Sideline. Ava, go ahead and go first.
I'm telling you, I'm changing up.
Go ahead and go first. Gerard, he's got something up his sleeve, so you go ahead.
All right, my ending thought is, if you don't like what's going on in your life, you definitely have to finish the same thing over and over. So, in 2011, if you want to make a change, then that would be
I love it. Gerard, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I'm sorry.
Doing the same things over and over
I
again.
fell asleep. I
Is-
did.
and did you hear it, Gerard? Did you hear that?
I didn't. I took a nap.
Okay.
It was so long.
Make sure
dare you.
that you watch the show.
dare you.
Make sure that you watch the show and catch that point. But go ahead with your point.
All right. I'm gonna say something different this time. It's not gonna be the silly one. I'm gonna be serious.
Go ahead.
It's about your friends. Just so you know, fake friends are like shadows. In your brightest moments, they're on your back. But in your darkest hour, they're nowhere to be found. Remember who you're hanging around.
I love that. Wonderful words of wisdom from Gerard. No, seriously.
Unless
See,
they're
that's
blow-up
the
dogs,
beauty
they're
of
always
Sideline.
there.
You get fun, you get entertainment, you get some sports knowledge, and you get some life lessons. These two right here. 2 life lessons.
We'll teach you about the chromosomes.
I'm a shallow guy. I'm not very deep, so I'm going to keep it on the surface and stay in the NFL. And I'm going to say this, guys, get this collective bargaining agreement done because there are mouths that literally need to be fed by these paychecks next year. Not everybody's making $20 million like Peyton and Eli Manning or Tom Brady or these kind of guys. Some of these guys on the lower end of rosters are making a couple $100,000, might not have saved it, might not be able to afford their lifestyle if they don't get checks next year. For the benefit of the league and the players in the league that ultimately make the league what it is, owners, get the damn deal done.
And us fans want it. Believe it. We don't like having to watch fantasy games. We like football.
Right.
I said fans.
We don't like baseball.
I did say fans.
That's it. 2010 season of Sideline is a wrap. I want to say good luck to all of those teams in the playoffs. And guys, be back with us next year because we'll be here.
We'll be
Thanks
here.
a lot.
shimmying and shaking.
Time to tune in. 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 Here we go, shawty. Here we go. Time to watch my favorite show. Every Saturday I'm tuning in. Everybody know Jimmy Fair, what it do? You know that's the host. We on the 50-yard line, 50 more to go. My sideline TV on repeat. Win the Super Bowl and never leave my fantasy. And if you gotta work, well, you should call off. They not like pre-song shout that they don't fall off. Here we go. Here we go. It's time to tune in. 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 Here we go. Here we go. It's time to tune in. 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 It's time to tune in.